What is going on, everybody? Should have everything going here. We have kind of a new studio, if you will. So new way of looking at things. Got some different camera angles. Hopefully, when we switch things around, we won't lose sound. We've been known to do that from time to time. So awesome. Thank you guys for being here. We got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight, and got a lot of RC to talk about. So specifically, dirt oval RC. So very cool. And so I will show you guys. So now we'll switch over. Boom. There we go. Because that's probably not in here. All right, there we go. So the producer's telling me she can't hear me very well. All good. So you can still hear me through that angle and everything. Oh, let me change it like that angle. There we go. What's up, guys? What is going on? Carson, what is up, man? Another big weekend for Carson. Carson's been dominating up at he dominated at 5 Star Raceway. And then the weekend I got to go up there and race. So cool. Dank, what's up? No, thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool deal, and I'm able to have all my stuff in here too. So I actually wrench in here now. I'm going to start wrenching in here now in the house, which is nice. So I'm able to have everything and all that's really nice. So yeah, it's basically set up exactly how I had it set up out in the shop, but now I'm able to be in the house. And when I get a package or whatever, they do it right to the front door. I can take it right in here, and yeah, so all good. All good. My mom's in here. What's up? Mr. Pasley, what's up? Mike, I'm assuming you're ready for this weekend. I think it's Crown Jewel 3, I think, down at Slideways. So if I get a chance to if I get a chance to head down to Slideways RC this weekend, I'm definitely going to. I've got my sprint car in a position where all I got to do is basically put electronics in it, and it's ready to go. Fell to the dark side and put bladder shocks on. I texted Dustin today and told him that I had entered the dark side. So Dan, good evening, sir. Mr. Tyler. Good to see you guys. So it's pretty cool. I actually I kind of fell short on getting it posted, but it's really cool. So right behind you guys now, for any of those who care, it's pretty awesome. So I have a like 70 something inch TV that is right behind me or right in front of me, so that I actually have the stream up there, so I can read right off of the screen. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome, actually. I'm enjoying it. Pasley's wrenching right now. Heck yeah. William, what's up, man? How are you, sir? But yeah, no, guys, I think we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight. Already have, I think we're up to 30 something people already. That was pretty cool right off the rip. But so some things I want to get right into. I don't want to take your guys' time. So what we'll talk about today, and something that seems to keep coming up, is diff analyzers. So that's the first thing. I have mine plugged in. We'll go down to a new shot here in just a second, and I am actually going to um I'm gonna actually show kind of how I have a brand new diff in the car, and show kind of how I do things, and then everybody can kind of work around and see how we do it. So what is up? Learn, love, play RC says hello from Indiana. We're in Indiana too, man. So awesome to have you. We are I'm sorry, the Facebook page this week has been growing like a weed. We're at almost 1,000, I believe. Last time I looked, we're at almost, or I'm sorry, just past 900. So we're on our way to 1,000 viewers now, or 1,000 followers, which is so crazy to think about, growing it all the way to 1,000 with less than 2 months. So that's really cool. Thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Dre Sturgill says hello from Ohio. So we're state neighbors. What's up? What's going on, guys? So pretty cool to see some new faces in here from YouTube and Facebook and all that. So that is very cool. So that is awesome. Northeastern here, cool. What northeastern? So that is so you're okay, kind of Michigan area. So I'm assuming you've been to Crater and tracks like that. I'm assuming up north, and then Five Stars up by you, Brick House up by you, I'm assuming. So very cool. Very, very cool. But yeah, on tap for me personally this weekend, like I said, I got my sprint car done. My late models in shambles. So if I can get a West Virginia, what's up, Jesse? Nice to see you, man. Very cool. Heck yeah. I'm hope we need to do a map. That would be kind of cool of where everybody's from and then post that. That would be kind of cool. All of the I'd like doing that. But yeah, so anyway, on tap for me, as long as I can get my late model done, is Slideways this weekend, I believe. So if not Slideways, I've seen Monster Jams in town, so I could kind of go get behind going to Monster Jam too. So or maybe both Monster Jams on Sunday. So after training, I can go. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we got over 30 people in here. I think I don't know if that's a record, but that we're doing good. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Mike Salazar's out in California. What's up, man? Mike, I know you've been in here before. Great to have you guys. Thank you very much. So let's get Gary Lewis from Washington. Heck yeah. We're all over the place today. Very, very cool. Hey, well, while we're in here, guys, everybody's doing it. Let me know where you're from. That would be really, really cool. I think what we need to do is put together um, I think we're going to put together a map. That would be really cool. I can go back through this live stream. So everybody type in where you're from. 35 folks in here. That would be really, really cool. Gary Brandon's in here. What's up, Gary? Dan Tyler Racing Skips at Platte City, Missouri. Anthony Mangold. What's up, Anthony? Good to see you guys. Thank you guys so much for spending a little time on a Wednesday evening with me. I really appreciate it. It's this is pretty cool. So Minoka, Illinois. That sounds Tommy Lee. That sounds very northern Illinois, like north. I'm gonna bet that's northwestern Illinois. I'm not a betting man, but I would bet that's northwestern Illinois. Dubuque, Iowa from Jed. What's up, Jed? Very cool. Greg's in here. Hello from Nebraska. Greg owns a new RC track, the Mirage. I'm going to assume the Mirage Raceway Park. Very cool, Greg. All the way from Nebraska. Very cool. Kansas, Washington, Illinois from Chris. What's up, Chris? That is pretty cool. So I live in Liston, Indiana now, but I'm actually from Peoria, Chris. So I'm sure you're very familiar. Wilmington, North Carolina, Darlington, Indiana, Peoria, Illinois. My mom. Thanks, mom, for contributing to Peoria. Anthony has a really, really cool track out in Darlington, Indiana. That's only 20 minutes or so from me. Parkersburg, West Virginia, Highland, Illinois, Sherwood, Arkansas. Very cool. Josh Anders, what is up? So in the running for the coolest city they're from for the night, Bullhead City, Arizona. How'd they get my nickname from high school in Arizona? That's weird. Western, okay. West of Joliet near Morris. Okay, so I was pretty close. Jason Fleming, Bloomington, Illinois, home of PT's Raceway. Very cool. Charleston, West Virginia, Missouri. Chris Stagner, maybe number 2 right now. Wood Wood River, Illinois. That's a pretty cool name. Marshall, Michigan from Dank. Pasley's from St. Elmo. Chillicothe, Ohio. Very cool, guys. Almost 40 people in here. So thank you all so much. Let's get right into it. I know everybody is I raced for Mike Smith, raced for 20 years in Peoria, Illinois. Very cool. Is that Mike? Was that big cars, RC cars? What was it? Because I don't think River City Raceway is RC track down there. It hasn't been around for 20 years. So I'm assuming big cars at the old Peoria Speedway. I grew up so close to the Peoria Speedway that from my parents' backyard, you could quite literally hear you couldn't see it obviously, but you could hear what cars were on the track. You'd be able to tell. So that's pretty cool. Awesome, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get over here and we're going to go right into the diff analyzer. Mike Smith raced 20 years from RC. That's really cool from Peoria. So, all right, guys. So I have we're going to call it a brand new car build. This is my 26 GFRP Assault, not the high bite version or anything. It's a standard Assault. And I have it's got probably, oh shoot, I don't know, 10 or 15 races on it. Had a little bit of a raced at a track that had quite a bit of sand and whatnot in it a couple weeks ago, and I know they're working on that track really really hard. So no bashing or anything like that for me. Just anyway, sand can get in these cars, as most of you know, and it's very um, it's very tough. So tough on bearings, tough on everything. So I had to go through the entirety of the car, get everything in an ultrasonic, get all the bearings apart, get them cleaned out, and tried to get everything nice and free and ready to go. So obviously no electronics in it right now. Need to get the servo horn on, motor in, ESC in, and all that. But for the most part, and then receiver. But for the most part, the car is as a roller ready to go. And if you guys have any questions or anything as we go, please just put them in the comments, and we will go from there. So, what I do, we're obviously you guys are looking at a top down version of the car right now. So, what we're gonna do, I have the factory team diff analyzer. So hopefully everybody can see this. So I have the factory team diff analyzer with the 7 mil hex quasi speed adapter that can go on it, because there's a little output shaft that comes right over here. And then what we're gonna do, let's see, let's go back through the comments real quick. Draymire says, dump that receiver out then. Dump the receiver out. Justin, what are you talking about? The receiver's over here. So you'll have to let me know what you got going on, Justin. I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying. Dump that receiver out then. That is the transponder. Huh. Aaron Harmison. Hopefully, I'm not butchering that. Very cool. Mike Smith said we grew up in the same neighborhood. Well, that's pretty cool. Very cool. Awesome, Mike. Heck yeah. I went to Limestone myself. Producer Kaylee just said that she creeped on you and seen. So we went to the same high school as well. Oh yes, yes, Justin, I did. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you're saying. Dump the receipt. Yes, so I blew everything out, and I've got everything as clean as it's going to be. If it needs to be any cleaner, it needs to be new. So at this point, and that's why I've it's taken me 2 weeks to basically go through these cars, and my late model's not even close to this. So, all good though. So okay, so how what I like to do on the diff. So everybody kind of has a different opinion. So keep in mind, this is just for my situation. This is not for anybody in particular. Everybody needs to find their own numbers. So keep that in mind. But so what I do is with this adapter from Quasi Speed, you're able to put it right on the wheel hex of the car. So right, you can put it directly on the wheel hex, and then you will want to make sure that we have all of the. If you had the motor in the car, you'll want to take the pinion off, because this will you don't want this to read the force that it takes to turn that over. It'll be a total false reading. So you'll take the pinion off, and what I like to do is I'll put it up on a car stand, and let me see, make sure I can get you guys the number. There we go. So everybody can see the number there. So right now, this is just basically I built an all new diff and put everything, all new internals and everything inside the diff. Have it built lightly, put it all together, and then from there. So what I do, you can put it right on the wheel hex, and all you have to do is hold the spur gear, and right now it's going to measure the resistance of that diff. So all I'm doing is lightly holding the spur gear. There's no real force or anything that I'm having to use. And one thing that I've noticed with especially with these factory team diff analyzers, and I'm assuming Sky RC makes one as well. What I'm assuming is, or not assuming, but what you have to watch out for is you want to make sure that when you get this on the wheel hex, that it is as free as you can possibly have it. Meaning you don't want to put it on and then like find yourself pulling it back, because it will produce a false reading. So what I'm going to do right now while I'm doing this to show you guys, I'm going to take my hand and pull back just so slightly on that wheel hex. Watch the number. you can totally falsify it and make it go crazy. So what you want to do is when you put it on, just make sure everything is nice and light. And I'm like barely holding on to this, just making sure that it's nice and centered on that wheel hex. Not pushing in very hard, not pushing, pulling, anything like that. Just making sure that it's nice and true. What I typically like to do, I let it run for like 5 to 10 seconds just to get somewhat of a number. So right now, I'm comfortable calling that 180. So this diff right now is at 180. I've found that where I like to start for most loose dirt tracks, and some people will call it crazy, some people will say it's too loose, um, some people will say it's too tight. So again, everybody make sure that you have your own number when you start this. That's very, very important. Evan says, "What do you put in your diff?" So that's a great question. Let me grab this and pull this out. Whoop. So, and I think this was bad at the start for me personally, or where I kind of got things wrong. And give me just a second and switch over. Whoops. That's what I wanted still. Let me go back to here, guys. There we go. Perfect. So, what I like to do is I put in all my diff is this is from Quasi Speed as well. You can get it at Go Fast Race Parts or any of your major places. I buy the syringe, and I put the clear diff fluid in there, or diff oil. It's differential grease, however you want to diff lube, however you want to word it. And when you buy the syringe, it comes with a obviously a syringe as well. So you'll take that blue cap off, fill it up. I'm running out. I need to get a couple more. But so what I do is I go through, and actually here I've got everything with me now, so we can kind of talk this stuff through. This is so much nicer than just talking about it. I hate just talking about it. Okay, so let's see. Keep going through the comments here. Dre Strugel. How do you know what number to use? So, Dre, basically, it's a totally up to you thing. You can listen to somebody like me. You can listen to somebody else that has kind of their number, but it's completely a feel thing. So it's kind of had to work back and forth. What I would suggest is before you go and use one of these analyzers, I would get the car where you really really like it, or find it where you can have it very good, and where you have the diff where you like it, and then check it. Because if you check it, then you'll be able to, you check a good diff, then you'll be able to get that number, and you'll at least have a starting point or a number to be around. So, me personally, I found for a long time when I first got this analyzer, I thought I wanted to be at like 200, 220. And I've found that to be incredibly loose for how I like the car to feel. Typically, I bump it up to, I'm at about 280 to 300 is about where I'm at. So, just for a, and I have personal friends of mine that we go high bite racing, and they're torquing theirs down to like 400 on the reader. So the main thing, and if anybody takes anything from this live stream, the main thing and the singular most important thing, once you have one of these, you only use this. If you have a buddy's that you're using his, that you only use his, and you only check it when you're at the racetrack with him, or you go get your own. I think these are 99 bucks without the adapter. You have to buy the adapter. I'm not sure how much that is from Quasi. I can look, and I can go on Quasi and put the link in the description for you guys afterwards. But it is so incredibly important that you guys only use yours once you have one. These things read on resistance, so the motor and everything in the module inside of them that's reading that can be way off. So my 280 on this module, my 280 might be 210 for somebody else. And it's the exact same amount of actual force, but these things are relatively inconsistent. They're cheap, and They're very, very good. I'm not knocking them, but you want to make sure once you have one, you use yours. And if anybody takes anything from this, that's the number one thing. So I will show everybody though, and I can go through a build at some point as well, and we can build one on stream if anybody would like to. That's no problem. But what I like to do is I actually here I can just put it on. Give me just a second. I'm not going to. I am not going to actually put it in, but I'll put it all together where it looks the same for everybody. Go back through real quick. Let's see. Okay, so Dre, we kind of covered what number you know to use. You find one, you find a diff that you like and how the car performs, and do it. And then let's see. Stagner says, I need to get me one. Yes, you do, Chris. I firmly believe in them. It made my program a lot more consistent. Ever since I bought mine, I really haven't heard any diffs, which has been really good. Yeah, Team DCR, you're 100% right. These things make things ungodly amount easier. Let's see. Gary Lewis says his is at 51 with nothing attached. So, Gary, you're saying elaborate a little bit more on how you're measuring yours, because 51 even you're saying with no spur gear and everything, I'm assuming. And let's see, Jesse says that would be awesome. So I tell you what, let's let's do this, guys. I may actually. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit impromptu, but let's see. I know that I have. So let's get the car out of the way. We will go back to this in a second, guys. Let's go ahead and build one on stream. Why not? Everybody cool with that? Hopefully, we'll build a diff on stream. This isn't going to hurt anything. This is all brand new for me. All these are all brand new parts, so this will work out. This will work out really good. I know I have some fresh diff balls. I believe it is 14 diff balls. Oh, Facebook will shadow ban me because of a needle. Oh, okay. Well, we got to move the syringe for a minute, everybody, because according to producer Kaylee, she says that Facebook thinks we're doing drugs. So no good. Oh, that's fair. Oh, we don't want to get banned from Facebook, so all good. Okay, so here we go, guys. So let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 diff balls. Let me get those babies out. Here, I'm just going to do it right here on the mat. That's okay. Right here on the mat. Who cares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. That should be close if we're got too little or too many. That's all good. So we don't think it'll be a big deal to actually put grease in, right? I think it's fine. It's okay. Just all right. Excuse me. Coughed right in the mic. All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. Give me just one moment. So let me zoom in here. We'll go to 4X. Call 4X good. I'll get this out of our way. I feel like I'm so organized now. I'm almost too organized. All right. So obviously you make sure everything's nice and clean. First thing. And actually I need to get one more thing before we get started. Please hold. Just need to make sure I get a screw and all that with bearings. I have a whole kit right here. Also, public service announcement. If anybody is going to be around, I accidentally purchased 2 that's going to be racing with me or near me soon. I accidentally purchased 2 ceramic rebuild kits. instead of the carbide rebuild kits. So if there's any 13.5 guys that would like ceramic balls, get with me and we will go from there. Because I'm going to use all this, and then I have ceramic balls, so for the 13.5 guys instead of the carbide that I really need for the mod stuff. Cut all this, get everything out and ready to rip. There we go. And then I will need. Sorry guys, I wasn't planning on us actually building one, but I think there's no time like the present. So we will do one and let it happen here. Okay, so we have fresh rings. I never use that guy. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And then diff balls. Out drives. Cool. All right, here we go. So, what I like to do is obviously first off, you make sure everything is clean. And then what I do, hopefully I've got enough here, is I go through and I actually dab basically just enough to cover the hole. And what this is going to do is it just kind of holds those balls in there. What I used to do and I found is not good. It actually makes the drivetrain it makes it hard on the drivetrain. I used to gob way too much in here, and it is not a good sitch. All right, so then once you basically have your oil over all of the holes, that way none of the balls can fall out. What I like to do is I will go through and I will put all of the balls in holes. There is no eloquent way to verbally describe all this, guys. So I'm really sorry about talking about putting balls in holes and everything, but there's no good way for me to describe it other than this. So okay, and then sometimes so I'm running out of grease, everyone. So there are times this works a lot better, obviously, when you have a full thing of grease. So I just had two fall through, but we're impromptu here. So I put all the balls in. So I know some people put everything, they'll put all of the balls in at once. I've done that before too, and then you just kind of spread them out. That's no problem. Put them all in here, get everything in nice and good like. Perfect. And then let me see, I don't have one in there. So perfect. Right on the money, accidentally. I love it when that happens. And I will like what I do like to do as well is I do like to experiment a little bit here and there with different lubes and oils and greases and whatnot. So like what I'm doing right now is not necessarily the end all be all. So keep that in mind. But this is kind of the tried and true. I've never had one blow up after I started doing things like this. So when I got started back into the hobby, I was going through diffs left and right, started doing this and haven't had an issue since. So it's been very good. So that's what you're looking for. 14 diff balls. I run carbide. Whoop, gosh darn it. I run carbide in mine. All Outlaw Sprint guys should be running carbide in yours. And if you have 13.5, you can get away with ceramic. Okay. So, and then what I typically do, again, guys, I'm about out of grease here. Then what I'll do is on the backside where I didn't start with grease, I'll go through and I'll run a bead basically right over all of the balls. So again, I am completely out of grease now, of the diff grease. So no big deal there. And then put I can get some. It's good. We're good. So put your bearings on the out drives. And what I like to do is the two out drives, one has a post, One has a post, one does not. I use the one that does not, and you make sure all those balls are seated. And then what I like to do is go through and kind of spin it on, take it back off. So now you got a little bit of grease. You got a little bit of grease there. And then what actually I skipped a step, getting ahead of myself. But so anyway, you put this out drive up underneath, and that actually helps seat those balls to the best that you can. So now you can see everything's in there. All the balls are kind of at their own, at the proper depth. They all match and everything. I will get to the comments in just a little bit, guys. So now what I do is my other syringe that has black grease, same thing from Team GFRP and Quasi Speed. What I do is I take black grease and I will actually lay decently I'll lay a decent bead of black grease all around here. And this is kind of where I've been playing with different greases as well, but black's never really let me down. And then you'll take your diff ring, and you can see kind of how I have the grease on there. I'll take my diff ring, spin it until it kind of, right now I'm kind of using my fingers to wipe some of that black grease off. Okay. So now if you take it apart, it should look something like this, nice and consistent, nice bead of grease all the way around. And then do the same thing with this guy. Oops, sorry, guys. And you'll do the same thing here. Okay. So again, you're not really gobbing it on there by any means. Just a nice little singular bead should be plenty. And then again, I spin it, kind of holding the ring. And again, guys, this is the quick and simple way. There are some extra techniques and things that guys do that we can absolutely cover in them, like in a more in-depth build at some point. But at this point, like I said, we're just doing something quick and easy, simple for some of the newer guys that are in here, as well as just people who need to know. So the next thing that we will do is we'll get our, so now the out drives are done with the diff rings. And now we'll take our screw. Learn, love, play RC. So a light but steady coating. Correct. So a light but steady coating underneath the diff rings. So no need to gob anything on there or anything like that. I was really bad about it as in the when I put the diff balls in, as well as the grease underneath the rings, I would really gob it on, and you don't. There's absolutely no need to do that. No need at all. So now we have our diff screw, and we will put the bearing cage. You want to put the groove. The first one you put in, you put the groove facing up. Groove facing up. And that basically gives a track to put your thrust bearing, gives a track for those balls to ride in and be secure. It's personal preference, but one side it's caged and one side it's open. What I like to do is, again, just personal preference, how I build each one. I put the closed side towards the head of the screw, closed side towards the head of the screw, and then you do the opposite with the last cage. Do the opposite with the last cage. So there's a little groove in there, and now you'll put the groove down towards the thrust bearing balls. Whoops. Towards so now you'll have the ring down. So first one is ring away from the head, second one is ring towards it. Then you will take your I'm using black grease. And what I like to do is spread the cages, and I will actually focus on making sure as much of the grease as I can get is on the bearing, and I try to get it in between. And while I'm doing this, I'm rotating the screw just to make sure there's plenty of grease and it's nice and packed. And then when I squish it, it will all kind of squish real nice. And then I take my fingers and I will wipe a steady coat on the outside of everything, just kind of holding it all together. Okay, so now we're there. I'm sure there's a bunch of comments, so let me go back through comments real quick before we keep going. Okay, so Stagner said, "Where did I get those cases from?" I have several different ones. Kaylee put the link in there for which one did you put in? Oh, so both. And then these are just where I have all my arms and whatnot. These are from Harbor Freight, so I can zoom out. We can go over kind of what these are in a little while too. They're Jesse. They kind of are the ones like from Gravity and Motive. They're not the exact same, but pretty close. Let's see, Jesse. Can you explain the break-in process too? I have an issue with them barking. Then they're junk. Yeah, they're as soon as you bark one, they're junk. So as soon as you bark one, you don't want that. Let's see here. Hopefully this doesn't stay 4x. Okay. What's that? I put a lot. I just put like the big stuff that won't fit in the small. So Jesse, yes, we will go through. We'll go through once we build this one. We'll go through on how I like to do it. I don't have electronics in my car, but I can explain it and it'll make sense. Oh, let's see. DCR. I know that is Dylan and Bobby Burnell. So what is that? Durnell and Cook Racing. That's who that is. If you put the ring on one side of the outdrive, then the gear, put your grease in, and yeah. So again, with the Team DCR guys, I never have an issue with the ball falling out. You can do it back like that. What I normally have way more grease, and I'll be able to gob it quite a bit better, and then it makes it a lot easier. So I actually just bumped a bunch of these out because of the lack of grease. So that sounds like a good idea, actually. Just do this now. That way they can't fall out anymore. Give me just a second, guys. I had 3 or 4 of these fall out on me. So again, we were not. I was not prepared to build one of these on stream, so I apologize for a little bit of the difference here. So okay, there we go. Get those in there. Get them nice and seated. Boom, 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 boom. Beautiful. Okay, cool. All right, we're back. Everybody making fun. What's up, Dylan? Good to see you. Okay, so Dylan brings up a good point, and something that you can do, guys, is you can take and lap your diff rings in. I don't recommend that for people who are new or newer, for the simple fact if you can kind of screw them up. I know that like Team GFRP at one time sold ground ones. I don't believe they do that anymore. I'd have to reach out to Dustin to confirm that, but Basically what you can do is you can put sandpaper down, like tape it nice, and the big thing is to tape it nice and flat. And then what you can do, let me go back to desk view here so you guys can see. What you can do is like on so you I would use this out drive where the bearing is up underneath the um differing, or take the differing off. It'd probably be way better to take the differing off. Um so what I like to do is you would put it, so imagine this is sandpaper. You would actually go through and do a figure eight on the sandpaper on both sides of your differings, and that's a good way to lap them and get them in and lap them in true. Um, you can start with probably 100 and something grit and go up to 200 if you wanted to, um, or even finer, but you wouldn't want to go much lower. Yeah, I wouldn't even start at 100 really. I'd start at like 200 and then go up because there's really no reason to get too aggressive. You want it nice and fine so you can get these nice and smooth. But that's when Dylan's saying that he's bringing those in. You can also wet sand them with a very very high grit sandpaper, like 2,000, 3,000, the heavy grit sandpapers, and um, that will also help you out as well. Let's see, Rob, how you doing, Rob? Mark at Go Fast Hobbies Tech Tip Tuesday did a transmission build and shows some of the cool tips when he's working with diff balls. So yeah, yep. So what you could do, and Dylan and Bobby brought it up as well. You could also build it like this. So you could do it kind of in a different order where you do the differings, put this backer plate with your outdrive and everything behind it, and then that way pack it all. It would be totally fine to do it that way too. Now nothing's going to fall out. But you guys, once you guys get in here and you're building more, it'll make a lot more sense, and you'll be able to go in and really handle it that way. Learn, love, play, RC. Excuse me. Alternate the bearing cage. Yes. So you'll put the ring up, and then one will be ring facing down, and that way it captures the balls on the thrust bearing. Rich, what's up, man? We were just talking about Bobby actually. I always use 2,000 grit, wet or dry, and go in a figure eight pattern. Yep. Yep. And you use oil or soapy water as a lubricant. Yep. So that's what Rich was saying. Um, yeah, so definitely use a lot higher grit sandpaper than what I was saying, guys. Definitely go to probably be in the high hundreds or in the thousands. But you'll take that ring, and then when you're going in your figure eight pattern, that'll really really help. Tony Leatherman, how we doing? Tony says that Team Associated sells factory team diff rings that are flat. Yep, yep, they will sell them as well. And then yes, and then to Rich's point, always make sure after, if you guys do decide to sand them nice and flat, make sure you clean everything as good as you possibly can. Keep everything else away from it, and then do your diff rings kind of off to the side. That way, everything is flat, no dust, no grit, no grime, and that way you're putting everything together nice and clean. So Monty's got an itch. All righty, so now let's go to the next step. So one of the things that I learned early on in this process is with this. So this is the outdrive with the post. I like to stick it through because now the bearing is captured and everything's good. And then you don't press, but you can put the bearing into the outdrive without the post. The outdrive without the post, so that is flat. This is the outdrive that you put your bolt through. If you don't, for whatever reason, I believe they might be, I think they have different clearances down inside of the outdrives, but the screw and spring and everything will not seat properly if you put it on this side, and it'll be way out. So when you put your dog bone in, first time you would set the car down at ride height or whatever, it would jam your dog bone into the nut, and that would not be good. So outdrive without a post, and we will take our thrust bearing assembly with the bolt and everything, and you can stick it right through. What I like to do at this point is I take my 2 mil wrench, and I will put my 2 mil wrench on that bolt, And it is at this point, I'm kind of pulling down, holding everything down onto that bolt. At this point, you can run everything through, work it in so it seats real nice. And I try to keep the my 2 mil in my hand just to keep everything nice and pressed in. And I will work everything around just to make sure everything feels good, everything's nice and seated. Then that way, that makes sure that, if you have one thing that's really easy to do is you can actually get two of your diff balls in one hole. And then that way, if you do that, nothing will seat properly. So you want to make sure that you're spinning everything. Make sure you get a 360 out of both the out drives. Make sure everything feels good, feels proper. Nothing should it should be perfectly smooth at that point. And then we take our spring. So here's another something else that nobody or that I feel like a lot of people doesn't do, and definitely didn't get told to me until very late in the game. Take a pair of pliers, so these needle nose work, and your spring. And what I like to do is I will actually compress this spring 5 or 6 times. It's a very short throw spring, so it's moving on my end. You may not be able to see it, but it is collapsing. You just want to run it through its paces 4, 5, 6 times, get it nice and free. That is a tip that I have found does help. Okay, so we're back to this now. We're standing everything straight up. Drop your spring in, and now you can drop your nut in. Make sure that the ears and everything are all clean. Make sure everything's good here, and the ears will be up. So it's offset, as you guys can see here, and the ears will be towards the outdrive. And as you can see right there, and then from here it should already be on the it should have gotten to the bolt. So now as I'm spinning, you can watch that nut. Oops, let me spin it so you guys can see. That nut will continue to go down the outdrive. And what I like to do here is I hold the outdrive in one hand, and I just keep screwing it down nice, and I'm not doing no force, no nothing. And I just basically go until I can't till the wrench wants to spin the diff in my hand, and then I stop. It's buttery smooth. At this point, it is incredibly loose. You would never want to race it like this. But what I like to do here is you can just basically what you can hold on to. If you're super strong, don't go crazy. But at this point, you never, ever want to feel like any grit or anything. This should be just completely buttery smooth. But we have a diff, guys. You can drop your. I don't run these. I don't run these little keepers or guards. Um, but you can if you want to. I don't personally. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I've never ran them and never had an issue. Let's go back to the comments real quick. Rich says, I actually saw and read somewhere that someone was putting the thrust washers in upside down instead of using the cone shaped for the balls they were using. Just wondering why that is or what they're thinking on that. So you're saying on the thrust bearing for the ball or for the cages, you're saying they flipped them the other direction? That's interesting. I would say it is the cage style bearings, that would be fine but if you really want those tracks, if they're going to put just the balls in, um, I would think. I mean, I guess they're captured down in the outdrive as well. So I really don't know the thinking behind that. I would personally want them to be captured, but might be worth looking into. I guess I could build one and test for science, but I really don't have a great answer for you on that, Rich. But I could see I could see where they're saying maybe less friction if it's not in the groove, if it's just on the outside, if it's just on the flat surface, maybe it's not as aggressive as far as the ball's being held in a groove. So there's initially more friction there. But I don't have a good reasoning for that. Casey Bass, how we doing, man? I use an M3 bolt and nut to compress the spring at the very beginning of the diff build. That way it's ready. So you can do that, Casey. But what I've found is you want to cycle that. So you don't want to just clamp it down and call it good. I would make sure that you're cycling that spring. That's important. So I would make sure that you're doing that, rather than just put a nut and bolt in and crimp it down. You're not really doing all. I mean, you're doing more than not doing anything, but I would cycle it, rather than, um, just compressing it. Rich says yes, it's a cage style bearing. They were loading them up with grease and then using the flat side of the thrust washers. I'll have to look into that. They would not bottom out the nut as quickly. I mean, if anything, it would take more threads away at in a very small level, obviously. But if it's not in that track, those those washers would collapse further, so it would actually go the other way around. But that would be worth looking into, Rich. I can build one for science and see how that works out. Let's see, Rob. TLR makes a diff wrench that allows you to adjust your diff in the vehicle without taking everything apart. It's basically a short version of the Allen key that fits between. Oh, well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I just popped my um, camber link off real quick, and that works just fine. So I can get this a little bit tighter. Perfect. So everything's still nice, buttery smooth. And if you guys can see how far where the nut is, this is the ear to the nut that we dropped in there, and you can see how close it is kind of to the bottom of that outdrive. So that's a good place to kind of start. So just an idea, but Mike Salazar says, if I remember correctly, Dustin had said that he put the groove on the other side of the balls because the clearance is so tight it can rub on the cage with the balls in the groove. That's also a fair point, and that's probably reaching or going into what Rich is saying, Mike. So we need to look into that and see what's going on there, and we'll see kind of what we can work with. Um, I don't have a good answer for that right now. That's how I've always built my diffs. Again, this is how I do things, and I'm just showing you guys how I do them. But might be worth looking into. I've never had a failure. I've never had anything like that, because of how I've built them now. But if certainly if we can build them better, it'd be worth looking into. So anyway, guys, so now we have a diff built, and then we're gonna go back over to the car. Let me get my mess out of the way here. Zoom back out. Okay, now that we got everything out, get a little clearance for ourselves. So now basically you put your transmission all back together, you have your new diff in there, and what you can do, um, the order of operation from this point is kind of, is somewhat dealer's choice, especially if you have all of your electronics in the car and all that. What I like to do, so again, we're imagining here, guys. I don't have any electronics in my car. What I like to do is, excuse me, I'll spin my outdrive and I'll actually put my 1.5 mil wrench, and I will actually just kind of set it up against the motor plate like that. And let's see. So I'm just my 1.5 mil is completely through my outdrive right now. And what I'll do at this point is I would turn the car on, and with my receiver, or with my transmitter rather, I would turn my trim for my I would turn the trim for my throttle. I would turn it up until the rear of the car just barely started turning. And basically what's going to happen is that will slowly break the diff in. And keep it going, keep it going. And what I like to do there is I will do like 5 minutes going forward, then I'll move it over to the other side, put my put my wrench in the other side, and then I'll do 5 minutes going backwards. So about 10 minutes total. You can get it started, then kind of walk off, go do your thing. And then from there, what I like to do is at this point, there's really no reason to have your camber link on or off. I would have it off at this point. And another thing is you always want to make sure, if you guys didn't know this, always make sure that in your diffs, that the head of the bolt is always going towards the right rear. Always going towards the right rear. And what that's going to do is, because if you put it on the other side, through the centrifugal motion of the car and everything spinning, you can actually loosen that diff screw. So you always want to make sure that your diff screw is on the right side of the car. Um, that's that's a very, very important thing as well. So now at this point, what we've done is we've went 10 minutes forward, 10 minutes backward, or I'm sorry, 5 minutes forward, 5 minutes backwards. And then what you can do is you can go through and you can actually check your diff. So you can go through, make sure you guys can see the number. No pinion gear in the car, holding the spur gear. The camber link does not have to be on here, guys, to do this. You're just holding everything up nice and straight like it is in the car. I let my stuff run for 5-10 seconds just to get a pretty consistent number. If you start seeing, again, how when we talked going up, you can manipulate the numbers way up or way down by holding it not straight. So we're going to call this right at we'll just call it 190. We're essentially at 190. And the reason I don't continually put my camber link on and off is so that I can just keep adjusting really quick. And it's significantly easier to have a wheel and tire, or at least a wheel, on the left rear, so you can hold things. But now what I like to do is you can just start tuning on your diff, and you can get to that number. Whatever your magic number is, that's what you're going to pick. So here I put about a quarter a turn in it. So as you can see now we're up to about 220. I like to have my cars at about 280. Kaylee, if you wouldn't mind, could you quickly hand me one of the tires? Just a tire, it doesn't matter what it is, out of underneath there. Or a wheel, rather. Or a tire with a wheel, doesn't matter. And I will get back to the comments in just a second, guys. So hang with me for just a minute. Thank you. Oh, nice. I thought we washed everything. No, you were ready to get home, so I just totally threw them in here. Nice. All right, so we're shooting for 280, guys. And so basically here we're just going nice and slow, making sure everything is good to go. So here we are, we're getting a lot closer. So here, I was kind of holding everything up. So we are basically right on the money. Right now I'm trying to watch the camera and do everything here at once, guys, but that is about 280 when it's consistent like that. It'll be at about 270, 280. So that's about where I like to start my day, is right there. So that's perfect. We can get everything put back together. Once you find your number, again, that number is kind of a magic number for every individual person. Just because I start my stuff at 280 doesn't mean that the next person wouldn't start theirs at 320, which doesn't mean the next person wouldn't start theirs at 200. So it's totally up to you. Okay, so everything's back together, all good. Now what I would do, turn the car back on, put my 1.5 mil in, and I'd run it for 5 more minutes. So I'd run it 5 this way, move it over to the other out drive, put the car in reverse, run it 5 minutes the other way, and then that's how I break in a diff. Start to finish, that's how I do it. It's just so very important that whatever you do, however you do it the same way each time, and that's how you're going to get consistent results. And that's the best way that I can say best way that I can put it. So, all right, guys, let's go back and we will read some comments. I like some of these different angles from time to time just to mix it up. Okay. They do make a thinner diff gear. So let's see. All right, so we were at Mike's comment last. So Dylan Cook, I'd be careful. Okay, so Dylan kind of was saying he's careful. He would be careful about collapsing it and leaving it. Springs do have a memory. That's kind of what I was trying to say too. Keeping it collapsed is probably not the amount of time to build a diff, but like Sam mentioned, probably better to do the work, move it, yeah, 5 to 10 times, so that you. So basically, what Dylan's saying there was to Casey to make sure don't run a bolt and screw and just leave it bolted together. Um, because the 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes that it's going to take to the 5, 10, 20 minutes that it's going to take to be able to build one, you don't want to leave it collapsed that long. So right before you go to put your spring in, collapse it a few times and call it good. Thank you, Dylan, for clearing that up, though. Chris Stagner says they do make a thinner diff gear. So elaborate on that a little bit more, Chris, on what you're saying there. I missed that comment while I was building all this stuff, so I apologize. Mike Salazar, I'm just trying to help give a reason. Oh, okay, cool, Mike. Yeah, and it very well may be. And like I said, we need to test that for science, basically, and build a diff, flip it, flip the thrust bearing cages, and see. I can reach out to Dustin too and get his opinion and let everybody know. But like I said, it's all kind of in the secret sauce, if you will. Russell Johnson, how we doing, Russell? I like using the CW machine thrust screw. Their money. Yep, the custom work stuff is very nice. Custom work makes fantastic cars too. Let's see. Tommy Lee was asking Russell if that's O-ring screw. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, Team DCR just built 3 new custom work cars. Went and those boys dominated at PTs over the weekend. So congratulations to those guys. That's very very cool. Oh, we need to throw a banner up here. Speaking of people winning at PTs. And then let's see here. Chris says, "Why take the pinion off if you hold the spur gear?" Just asking. You know what, guys? That Chris is 100% right. I don't know why in the hell I just told everybody to do that. You do not need to take the pinion off. I apologize. That was stupid. 100% right, Chris. Great call. I don't know why I just told everybody to do that. So I'm sorry. You're 100% right. That doesn't matter at all. You're holding the pinion or you're holding the spur gear. You do not everybody, hopefully everybody's still in here that listened to it the first time. You do not have to take the pinion off. I'm sorry. I got that completely wrong. Good call, Chris. Thank you for saying that because I'm a dweebus. I don't know why I just said that. So sorry. Everybody, again, you do not have to take the pinion off of these cars. You just need to hold the spur gear. And you can actually, if you're in a hurry and you're in a pinch trying to check this, you can actually get around and hold it kind of from up underneath if you need to, especially if you run like the cover if you run the like a 3D printed cover or something over your pinion and spur, you can make it to where you have clearance to get around there and hold that spur gear still. So Chris is 100% right. So thank you, Chris, for clarifying that. I got that wrong, guys. You do not need to take the pinion off. Um, let's see. Dylan says need some of the Team DCR tire cleaner for that dirty tire. No kidding. And that we washed that about 3 times at the racetrack. So that's not good. I didn't. We'd probably need to go through and check everything because I didn't. I thought everything was clean when we put it up. Oh, okay. And then Gary says, however you do it, just makes yep. So we kind of covered that. However you do it, guys, is when you're building a diff, just make sure you do it consistently for your number each time. And then let's see, Gary Lewis, do you check it again with the analyzer after your final break in? So yes, Gary, that is a good point. So what I after you break it in, It really won't change from my experience, at least, it really will not change that much from there on out. Yeah, so I obviously haven't broken in. You absolutely can check it. I check it one more time typically just to make sure. But after you break it in that one more time, you may be able to get like a tenth of a turn out of it, but it's going to be really close after that last break in. But yeah, great question, Gary. So you absolutely can. And then I do check it after the car has ran. After I build a brand new diff, I do check it kind of periodically throughout the weekend when I'm racing, and then it'll back off a little bit. The big thing and this is kind of where it gets controversial about a diff analyzer, is you want to make sure that when you're doing that, there's the conversation needs to be had of when do you check it hot versus cold. If you take the car directly off the track and you put the diff analyzer on it, you're going to have a lower number because of the everything is warm and everything's going to be significantly freer than if you let it sit on the table and at your pit space for 20, 30 minutes and then check it. So kind of back to Gary's comment and what I was saying earlier, however you do it, just be consistent about it so that you're building the same diff over and over, especially once you like how you've built it. But that is a debatable question. Personally, I feel like you need to let it cool down, and basically you're trying to take when you pull your diff analyzer out, you're wanting to do it where the car's at full, the same temperature essentially every time. That is important, and that's how I like to do it. So if you're in a hurry, is what it is. Noah Hagen, what's up, man? Talking with people throughout this hobby, some believe in break in on the diff, and some say you're taking away life on the diff by breaking it in. What do you think about that? Does it actually take away life? I do not think in any way, Noah, that by breaking. I think you're actually giving life and giving longevity to the diff by breaking it in. It's not like we're sitting here at the table at full rip breaking it in like that. I mean, it is bare like it is you when you're turning your trim up on your transmitter, you're turning it up where it'll barely turn over, where it's barely spinning. So you're not I am a firm believer. I will die on that hill. You are in no way taking the longevity out of the diff. Um and I don't think that you're hurting anything. And I think if anything, you're giving life back to the diff. You're making it more robust and you're making it to where it'll last longer. I truly believe that. Great question, and I think that's how I feel personally. Chris Stider says, "Do they make one?" Chris, please elaborate. I got behind on comments, so let me know what you're asking on. Do they make one, and I'll make sure we get that answered. Aaron Harmison, you can never use too much grease. Aaron, I agree with that in a way, but I also disagree. I think you can, and the reason that I say I think you can is because I did for a long time. For a long, long time, I would go through and I would put way too much grease and everything in the diff to where it's at some point the grease isn't doing anything. It's just in there, like it's not helping or not. It's basically causing more. It's not causing friction in the way of like pulling on anything, but it's causing, for lack of a better term, gumming everything up, where it's making everything like very slow and lazy. So when I actually stopped using as much grease as I typically was, my cars actually came to life a relatively noticeable amount, because I like I say I wasn't using as many or as much grease, so there wasn't as much force needed to overcome all of that grease. So I agree and I disagree. Like I said. All right, let's move this over to 5 stars. There we go. Tracy Counds. Sorry, Tracy, if I'm butchering your last name. Tracy says I got away from ball diffs when we was racing foam tire. It's all we used. I'm a gear diff bandit now. That fair enough. Yeah, it is what it is. I think the proof is in the pudding that there is a lot, if not basically all the cars that are running up front. I don't know that you see too many guys winning on a loose dirt track with a gear diff typically. Once the gear diffs start coming out, it's pretty darn high bite, like you're saying with foam tire and stuff. Um, there's something to be said about you're going to get better performance out of a ball diff, but in the same breath, I agree with you. They're a lot more work than a gear diff. So I'm with you. I don't think I'm ever going to run a gear diff unless we're on super high bite. But I will say, I've kind of got my ball diff program on at a pretty good place now. So, Mike, when you switch from ball diff to gear diff, do you look at the same number between the two? So, Mike, I can't honestly answer that question for the sole fact of I really don't run gear diffs. So I would assume there's no way that you're looking for the same number. I can't imagine you are at least. Um, I've been wrong before, but I can't imagine you're looking for the same number with a gear diff. There's plenty of gear diff guys in here, and I know Dylan and a couple other guys that run foam tires, so they'd be better advocates to answer that than me. But I would be willing to go out on a limb and say that you're not looking for the same number. That there's just too much different there, and too many different tuning opportunities, and too many different things that can go wrong or be different outside of the a gear diff versus a ball diff. So, Dylan says Mike Salazar. Everybody has a different opinion. Personally, I only run a gear diff on high bite. So, yep, everybody's on the same page still. What diff fluid do you use? uh, Dre's asking. So that would be a gear diff question, Dre, because obviously we're just using normal diff lube, and fluid is a gear diff question. Rich says, I think what you're actually looking for with breaking the diff is repeatability and consistency of the diff. Absolutely. 100%, Rich, and that's what I'm saying. You're the longevity and everything. It's a big deal. Chris Steiner, do they make thinner diff gears for less rotating mass? If they I'm sure somebody does or has. I have never experienced not using a normal diff gear like that. And I'll leave it at that, Chris. I know that's not a great answer, but I don't I haven't I don't think that I've really went through, and I don't know that you're going to find a ton of performance advantage one way or another. Mike Smith, what brand of diff analyzer? So this is a factory team diff decoder. I believe I got mine from Go Fast Hobbies, but factory team makes one, and this has the Quasi Speed 7 mil adapter. Sorry, 7 mil hex adapter. And I believe Sky RC also makes one. I've seen people use both, and I really haven't heard too many issues from either one. So I think you'd be pretty safe getting either one. Aaron Harmison says, I missed earlier. Um, do you run the cage on the flat side or the cup? So I personally run mine, Aaron. I run all mine on the cupped side towards the thrust bearing. But we were having a debate where um, what is the right way. So I need to do some further research and get some better answers before I talk on it too much. But personally, I run mine where the dish is towards the diff ball or the thrust bearing, and I've never had an issue. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I've never had an issue. But maybe I'm leaving some performance on the table, and if that's the case, then we'll learn that here shortly. Let's see, Izzy, what is up, man? There's my main squeeze. Izzy says my gear diff is pretty free on super high bite. I would assume so. And something that's really interesting that I know a lot of the gear diff guys do is you can do all kinds of weird stuff as well. I think you can take gears out, or how is it? There's different things you can do to a gear diff and run only on one side or so. I don't know enough about gear diffs to really have a huge conversation about them, but I know you can get pretty fancy with gear diffs pretty quick. But it really is. It's a high bite man's game for sure. I don't know on loose dirt where you would ever want to run a gear diff, and it make a lot of sense at least. Dylan says a gear diff, you're looking for a lower number on the analyzer. Reason being, when you run a gear diff, you're wanting the rear end more free to get the car to turn better. That is the point of running a gear diff. Okay, interesting. So yeah, so you're still gonna have a pretty free, and then you're gonna be able to tune that through your fluids and whatnot as well to get that either freer or heavier, however, whatever feel you're wanting. David says, "What lube do you like on the gears and the transmission?" So what I use right now, and I think I want to get away from it actually. So it's funny you bring this up, but I use this pretty thick. It's thick, about thick like honey. Right now I use this, and basically I run a singular bead down the center of I do the full rotation of the um, diff gear, that plastic molded diff gear in there, and I'll do a single bead of this all the way around it, and you can see it get very. It'll get on all of the. It'll get on the out dry or on the top shaft and as well as the idler, and it'll get it all the way around, and you can see it, and it'll really expand and blow out. But that's another one of those situations where if you put too much of that on there, it's very, very easy to really see how your transmission gets so like lackadaisical and very, very for lack of a better, like very peanut butter in the mouthy. Like it's very gummy and almost hard to turn where it doesn't feel free anymore. So I'm looking at maybe doing something different on that. I've built transmissions and stuff before where I've done that black grease. Really didn't have any issues. Something that I also like, and I've been using this on all my out drives. Like I said, I play with this stuff a lot. Whether I should or shouldn't is probably to be argued with. But so this is day lube. When we were in big cars, we use these a lot on a lot of like the birdcage bearings and Heims and things like that when we're greasing them. But this day lube, I use that on a lot of my CVAs. So if you guys, let me try to get it in here where you guys can see it. Oh, sorry, everybody. This is backwards to me, so it's harder. But if you can see down in here, you can see the white of that lithium grease. I pack that there, and then I actually, for the first time, I actually put a little gob on my dog bone as well, just to see if that will free things up and maybe eliminate a little bit of wear. So I'll be curious to see how that works. But as well, I think I would like to try that lithium grease at some point in the transmission is where I was going with that, and I think it'd be a really good fit for that too. Um, I know there's also some guys that use some of the Lucas Oil products as well in there. I don't think you're going to go wrong with much of anything. Just making sure it's lubricated and everything is kind of the important part. So Gary Lewis, I did some testing with a gear diff 10K and it tested around 200. Interesting. So Gary said he did his analyzer with 10K and it went at around 200. That's interesting. No problem, Dre. I'm happy to explain it. That's what I'm here for. Team DCR. I'm assuming um, Dylan and or Bobby, whoever is running the DCR channel. I've seen Dylan in here, so I'm assuming Bobby's running the DCR. Is that QS 6014? Is that the oil that I just showed? I would assume that it is. Is he my man? Aaron Harmison says he believes Kevin Kleiber runs a thin. I could absolutely see that. Kevin is like the king of 13.5, so he would be a good guy to ask. I know Cuz would probably be another good guy to ask on what they do. So when I'm at the track with those guys next, I'll get some better answers and we can talk about it more. But like I said, I've only really used the kit stuff before, had good luck with it, haven't blown anything up, so I'm pretty happy with it. Tracy says, "Is that PRP oil?" No, it's quite. If we're back to Tracy, re-comment the PRP oil stuff, and let's talk about that because I don't know exactly what you're asking for what because I'm behind on my comments. I'm trying to get caught up here. He uses that with a touch of sewing machine oil blend. Very nice. Tony says a small bit of A diff grease on the rear works great. No cross contamination. Interesting. Tracy says do that as well on trans gears. Okay, I like that. Same bottle. Okay, cool. So that Bobby put the part number for what oil that I just used. So, and we're also caught up with comments now, guys. So cool. But that's the big thing I wanted to touch on because I know last week we talked about a diff analyzer so much, and actually talking about it and not having a car in front of me and all that is what actually stemmed this entire situation where now we've got a little bit of a studio with a workbench and I can actually sit in here and wrench and got a big TV to be able to see things and all that. So works out really well. And producer Kaylee can sit here right in front of me on her computer and help out and send links and stuff. So and be warm and it works out. So I love it. This is good. We should have done this a long time ago. It took us, what are we, 8 episodes in? Took us 8 episodes to figure this out. Gary says CV boots sure would be nice to keep dirt out. I agree. Um, I agree. That's all I can say. Especially when you run on some tracks that are um, not as packed as you would hope they are. That would absolutely be good. Why no ceramic balls for mod? So, funny enough, when I was getting back into the hobby, I was talking with Cuz and those guys about that I had just bought some, or I had just accidentally got some ceramic balls, and um, I thought that they were going to knock me out and put me on top of PTs when we were there, and felt pretty idiotic. So basically, f- the reason that I'm thinking or seeing it, why, would be I would assume these ceramic balls either wear out a lot quicker than the carbide stuff, or I would assume they also don't have the same because the ceramic would be so much quote unquote slicker of a material than the carbide. I would assume that they slip way too much as well. So you're really gonna burn up a diff by slipping those balls way more than you would with carbide. Would be my main assumption. Um, but that's my best guess. I was so embarrassed that I at the time, this was back pretty good now, pretty good time, but I was so embarrassed that I was like, "Oh," because everybody was like, "Oh, no, you stupid idiot, you should know." Nobody called me a stupid idiot, but I felt like a stupid idiot, and, so I was so embarrassed that I didn't ask questions, but I would very, much assume that the, ceramic is you burn up a diff way quicker with ceramic balls, I would assume, because of the power and mod versus like a lighter 13.5. Chris Stagner says heat shrink tubing. I'm assuming he's talking about um, keeping like dust boots and stuff out. Ceramic tubing or ceramic heat shrink tubing would be good for sure. I just don't. I To me, if you put anything on there, it's a great way to get stuff trapped underneath it too. So I kind of how I look at it. Tracy says, yeah. So we're okay. So we're all on the same page there. Then ceramic slips. So cool. And then Gary Brandon says, finish line dry bike lube for the trans gears. So that's what the man Gary Brandon is running. So that would be good. And then okay, no problem, David. Happy to help. Let's see. Rich says Alex Fanning told me one time that you can never seem to get the ceramic balls tight enough for my. So we're all 100%. That would be you can't get a good grip on them. Where naturally the carbide is going to have like a almost like if you ever look at carbide, it's kind of veiny, if you will, at a microscopic level. So I'd assume that allows more friction and more grip. And Russell says ceramic balls are super sensitive on adjustment. Absolutely, absolutely. So basically, to summarize, guys, if you run mod, run carbide. If you run 13.5, run ceramic. Kind of where it comes out at. All right, I think we got our banner going here. Everybody is all of our winners. We got to make sure that they got on there. So that's the most important thing. Cool. Another cool thing about having the little setup in here is I'm going to try to, as much as I can with work and whatnot, I'm going to try to film some more segments, kind of like how I did the spring setup, and how adjusting springs and stuff. We've had such amazing growth here, and even in the last week, it's been pretty crazy. So I don't know. Um, Before I do this, do any of you guys care or like the hearing about the statistics of what this page does at all? Is that like nobody cares? And I'm never saying it from a braggadocious perspective. I just think it's really cool to explain and show what some of the reach that we're able to get sometimes. It's really cool. But if you guys think it's stupid and don't want to hear about it, I won't share, and it's no problem at all. But if you guys are interested, kind of let me know in the comments, and I think it's cool, and I'm an analytical guy. I like looking at numbers and stuff, so it does uh, it does kind of help. I think it makes me see how alive and well our hobby is, which is pretty cool. Ryan Ralph's in here. Do you gas it up in the slick? Ryan, do I gas it up in the slick? I gas it up all the time. But what do you mean specifically? I don't think I understand. William says, "Do you think you can make a gear diff feel like a ball diff?" I don't personally think I can, but my only experience with gear diff stuff right now would be on off road. So again, I'm not really the guy to ask mainly for gear diff stuff. There's people in here that are far more interested than me, um, or far more intelligent than me on the gear diff stuff. I really don't. I don't have a huge grasp on the gear diff stuff yet. I do believe in 2 weeks, 1 week or 2 weeks, not this weekend, but next weekend. Um, believe I am going to go up to Limestone and run foam tire. So some of my buddies were nice enough to put a car together for me and stuff. So I'm going to get to be a hired gun and go up there and I believe I'm running a foam tire 13.5 late model. So I'm super pumped about that. And I know they have gear diff stuff and all that. So I'm gonna absolutely enjoy that, and hopefully not have to feel like I have to come back with some foam tire cars because I love it so much. Gary Lewis, Gary Lewis says, "Where did the 3D printed diff cover come from?" And this is straight from Quasi Speed, or it's either Quasi Speed or Team GFRP. Um, and this is for the layback transmission as well. So because there's some transmissions that they don't have them for, and there's some that they do. It's kind of a weird deal. Ryan Ralph, you'll have to elaborate a little bit more. Do I gas it up in the slick? Try to keep my wheel speed down in the slick if we're talking big car stuff. I don't. Cool. Jesse Barr says, "I think it's awesome to hear what you're doing with the page." I appreciate it, Jesse. It's cool. I really like. We kind of got a couple different avenues to go down. That's really really cool, and the ones that we're going down, it's really neat to be a part of and do some of these. Do some of the podcasts and things like that. I enjoy that. So, and while I'm pulling up our analytics, then what I'm very, very curious of, guys, is you need to put a car pick on the wall behind you. Chris, there is something coming that will look very cool behind us or behind me eventually that you guys will like. So I promise it'll be worth the wait there. While I'm looking up, I do have a teaser that I don't want to play all my cards yet, but I do want to ask some of you guys. Well, we got 35 people in here still. Is there anybody in here, and I'm going to leave it at this, and I don't want to elaborate on it too much, but is there anybody in here that frequents or uses Discord at a high level? I don't need any help with anything. I already have something built, but I would like to know or like to gauge the interest if Scale Labs were to create kind of a community platform over on Discord. And I will leave it at that. And I'd like to know some of the interest. So let me know if anybody's on there or if anybody would be willing to try out the platform. and yeah, would just be curious to know how that works. Let's see here. Let me pull up some. While you guys are typing away, let me pull up some of the statistics here because it looked like some of you guys were pretty pro. You gotta. I've got to see. So we can also put a poll up, but I'm not sure how anybody can interact with it. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that and kind of get some gauge there. I was trying to put one live in the stream, but yeah. Oh, cool. Check this out. All right, let's see here. You want to put so we Josh Anders, yes, I use Discord every day. I would join. Mom, I'm not sure what Ronnie's dad, and I'm not sure what you're saying. No. Oh, no. That was his name's Ronnie as well. Oh, let's see. Aaron Harmison. I've never heard of that platform. You should look into it, Aaron. I think you. It's pretty cool. Blaze uses it. Very cool. Drake uses it. William uses it. So I figured a lot of the gamers would come out. Matt says he doesn't use it. There's only so much time in the day. I get that completely. Don't know much about it. We would make sure, guys, that it's very, very like it's go in and it'd be trying to build a community kind of like we've already built. So it'd be really, really cool. And I'm thinking about some cool things that we can do as far as access on it. I've been looking into how to add more value to this stream and how we can do things. And I feel like, just speaking candidly, I've kind of reached the peak of having getting all this started and getting a lot of the cameras and mics and all that. I've kind of reached the maximum of free that can be contributed. So what I am curious of is if we were to do like a community, go through Patreon. I don't know if anybody's used Patreon before, but I know a lot of the podcasts and stuff that I listen to guys use Patreon. So I've kind of thought about, um, having a Patreon and getting Patreon started for Scale Labs so we can put things and get things back into the community. And if we could do that, and if people are interested enough into the Patreon stuff, and and we could go that way, I thought that would be the perfect like entry level for the Patreon would be to have that access. That way, it's kind of an exclusive deal. Not just everybody can come in and out, and it's not garbage in, garbage out. It is behind, it's basically, call it what it is. It's behind a paywall, but it's to a place where everybody who's in there is essentially paying to be in there, so it'd be significantly more serious. Um, and if that's not the way that the community wants to go, then that's fine, and I respect that 120%. But it's just like I said, it's just something that I'm wanting to look into. Nothing's going to change from what we're doing now, but I want to add more. I want to give more value and be able to continue adding and giving back to what we're doing. And I want to be able to give back to the hobby more than just like, the knowledge and videos and things like that. So, um, that's a good way to do that. And if everybody says no way in hell, then I'm all about it. Nobody's going to hurt my feelings. It's not a money grab by any stretch. It's just to keep things going and keep things doing better. So, let's see. And because the streaming software and all that stuff, it like I said, not bitching. I'm happy to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it. Nothing's going to stop. But it would be nice to be able to add and give more. So would love to know your guys' opinions. I've already said too much, basically, from what I was thinking, but just putting it all out there. Russell Johnson, I have had good luck running 10K 2 gear for a gear diff. I only fill the diff a little over half full. That's the closest I've got the gear like a ball diff. So okay, so he only runs 2 gears and he fills it up about half full, and that's how he gets it to feel like a ball diff. That's fair. I like that. I'm gonna have to give this a shot. There's been so many gear diff guys in here. I want to make sure that, um, yeah. So Blaze, I love that idea, and that is exactly kind of where we're going as a chance to discuss rather than just type, where we can get kind of a community forum, and I think it would be really cool. Um, Brian Musterman, very cool. He said Musterman uses Discord for gaming. Was just on there. Cool. So way more people use Discord than I thought, which is great. I didn't realize how many people use Discord, and that is awesome news. Uh, Discord itself is free. It would be more of it would be more of getting into the server for Scale Labs is what would be paid, and we'd put it behind the um, potentially. And if it's absolutely not, then we can go about it a different way for sure. But Discord itself is free, and then to basically to get exclusive access to it would be through like through Patreon and things like that. Paul says, "What is Discord?" So basically, Discord is somewhat of like what we do here, where you can type and chat, but it's gonna be built out more of like a community. So a lot of gamers use Discord. A lot of other people use Discord to where it it's like a chat room. Yeah, it's a chat room, but you can also go in and talk in it. You can talk with yourself. It's kind of like a virtual hangout place. So it's kind of like almost like a bar, a virtual bar or a virtual place to hang out. And there's all kinds of different rooms and different rooms specifically to go talk about GFRP cars or custom works cars and I have it broken up to there's a for sales page in there. So instead of putting everything on Facebook, you have more serious people inside of the Discord that maybe you could sell something quicker, easier, get more money, whatever it is. So I have all kinds of stuff built out, and I've been working on it really, really hard. And I haven't obviously released anything, but I wanted to gauge some of the interest and see what people would think about it because Discord is a really cool platform. It's nothing specific to RC or anything like that. It's actually more tailored towards gaming, but it's a as many people that use it and gamers and stuff. It is a really good cross platform to be able to bring a lot of people in, and it would be a cool place to hang out for sure. And it would be a place where you could hang out throughout the day and talk to people, and you can search different things, and we can post different topics and exclusive videos and things like that. So I think it would be a really really cool thing if people would be willing to kind of be about it. So, but definitely, if you haven't heard of Discord, look into it, guys, because it's really really cool. Brian, cameras and gear ain't cheap. You're no kidding for sure. No doubt. Yeah, the microphone and some of these cameras, and actually one of the bigger expenses that really doesn't get thought about is all of the software that you have to be able to do all this. I use a lot different live stream software than I do to make the podcast. So there's hundreds of dollars a month going out to be able to produce this stuff. So it does take a lot. And I got to pay my producer, and she's incredibly expensive. You guys, oh my lord. Um, Discord would be a cool deal. So cool. Okay, awesome. You guys like that? I like that. Team DCR. Next video, maybe looking at doing a setup tip video, how to check ride heights. Camp. So that is on the list. So that is awesome. Discuss setup changes, what it does, just for the newbies getting into the sport. Absolutely, that is on the list for sure. And now that I've got this room and there's good lighting and everything is good, it'll be able to make the production value significantly better. William says ball diff is completely new to me. I've only used gear diffs on carpet off road, and just bought a FT. So you bought the same one I did, William. That's cool. To start messing around with it. It's yeah, you can get lost in the sauce. Excuse me, pretty quick with it. Blaze. It's great for voice chat. Absolutely. Then Blaze is talking about Discord there. But please, guys, for the 30 of you or more that are in here, please speak up on that because it really is something that's kind of near and dear to me, and it's something I really want to release. And there's ways that we can tie back in the racetrack and all kinds of other different things we're going to be doing if you're local here to Indiana, to where we can really provide a lot of value. Because my big thing is, say you do, the entry tier where you get access to the Discord and things like that. Say it's $5 a month, right? It is my unwavering passion to make sure that if you're spending $5 a month to support Scale Labs, that I have to make sure that you're getting $10 to $15 worth of value. And then, there's different tiers. That's kind of how Patreon works. So that's very, very important to me. And that's very, I never want to get on here and act like I'm asking for money, because I'm never doing that. And I'll never do that to anybody, because this is all completely for the betterment of the hobby. Like I said, if I can just, we can get in a situation where I can provide even more value for people, I'm all about it. So that's kind of where all this comes from. Gary says, "Thank you for sharing. It's great to get some explanations outside of the local knowledge." Cool. No, I appreciate that, Gary, and everybody who's in here still. I do have. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that very much. That nice comments like that mean the world. You have no idea how much it means. So, but it's so what I do want to share real quick, guys, and it's really really cool. And I can share this actually, because it's not going to. There's nothing on here that's proprietary. Give me just a second, and I can share my screen. That's what I'm doing right now. So I can share this. I want you guys to see this. Let me make sure there's no. I don't think there's anything on here that nobody can't see. There shouldn't be any reason why. Okay, check this out, guys. In the past 28 days, we have had over round off and say 130,000 views on our little silly RC page. I think that is just that I seen these numbers today and I about passed out. So yeah, no, nothing monetization wise, but and then if we go back to when we started, which was 60 days ago, I mean, so all of the growth has happened, and literally in the last 60 days, because I don't think we've been doing it 90. Yeah, so we haven't even been doing it 90 days yet. So how incredible, guys! I just wanted to share that. Like I said, absolutely nothing from a braggadocious standpoint or anything like that. Just I wanted to share that because that number, the 150, so total 152,000 people have checked out what we're doing. And we've got those kind of views. That is specifically because of you guys. And so thank you all so incredibly much. It's badass. And I couldn't believe that number. Like that was a huge friggin' number. And seeing that we're almost to 1,000, we're almost to 1,000 followers as well. So I'm really, really happy with that. Dank said that he will subscribe on the Patreon. So awesome. That's good to know, man. Hopefully there's a lot of people like you, Dank. I think that'd be really, really cool. Anthony, thank you, sir. I know hopefully Darlington's getting a bunch of really good numbers too. William, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. It's not me, so everybody's congratulating me, and I appreciate that. But it has nothing to do with me. I'm just the idiot that hits live, and then everybody else. Um, it's all we're all doing it. So thank you, guys. It's thanks to you guys. I'm just the guy who put it together. So thank you guys, because I mean I could almost choke up. 152,000 views. Like that's crazy. I think about the way I think about it is 152. If there's 152,000 people standing in my backyard, like insane, insanity. Yeah. Brian Musserman, mine has been getting more hits lately as well. Awesome. That's cool, man. I love that. And I think there's been I mean, RC's healthy right now, man, especially the dirt oval stuff. It's growing. It's doing really, really well. And I think it's going I think we're all going in the right direction for sure. I'm really happy with that. David, thank you. Rich, thank you. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. This wasn't a hey everybody cheer for me thing. I'm sorry if that came off as that. I wanted everybody to know like how healthy what we're doing is, and it's like we're making big strides and big gains on stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for that, because it's incredible. Dennis, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy the show. Drake, I'm hearing we can all come hang out in your backyard. Who? Kaylee's sitting there shaking her head. No, no, no. Russell said it's absolutely all because of the producer. She's making things happen. And yeah, you guys will be in our backyard in a few months once we get the track done. Rich, this is kind of like the middle of the week bull session to the track without the track. Exactly. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. I think Discord would even do that even more. It'd be even cool. So, yep. It'll be awesome, man. I can't wait till we get the track done. It's going to be so great. I cannot wait. But yeah, guys, so we've been on here for going on almost 2 hours. Kaylee and I's got a pretty aggressive Breaking Bad session we got to go and watch. And yeah, we've done what we needed to do tonight. We built a diff. We pulled the diff analyzer out. No more live stream. Tell all your friends. Tell everybody who will listen to us. No more live streams without cars, without examples, without showing stuff. I apologize for doing that. I'm kind of embarrassed by it, to be honest. And it's something that I want to make sure, it's very, very important that all this stuff is out in the open and we're able to look at stuff. And when somebody has a question on here, we can look at it immediately. And having all this stuff set up, if we do have a Discord or whatever, I can set up and send quick videos and things like that at night and have sessions to where I can, I'll be on and things like that too throughout the other days of the week. So for 30 Raceway 39, yeah. But yeah, so it's, and through the Patreon, I know we had talked a little bit about through Raceway 39. Those of you who's going to race with us, we're actually going to be able to provide value through the racetrack um, as well. So there's a lot of really cool things happening, and there's a lot of really cool stuff in the background that I need to that is coming, and we're growing at such a rapid pace. We're going to hit 1,000. Hopefully, we hit 1,000 followers by the end of this week. We're over 900 now. So if you guys just keep sharing, keep liking, keep doing everything that we're doing, you guys are making a huge impact and a huge difference. So I'm going to keep making sure we get as much of the content out as we possibly can. And I'm at the track as much as I can and enjoying the hobby as much as I can to help grow it. So, let's see. Comments are flying here again. Mike Smith. In the short time I've been following, I have learned a lot of helpful tips and have been racing RC cars for a long time. That's awesome, man. That is exactly what all this is for. So, nobody's better than anybody on here. There's stuff that, I'm an idiot sometimes and say you need to take the pinion gear off to hold the spur gear. Sorry again for that. I was stupid. I'm embarrassed by that as well. But Russell says she allows it to happen. I've enjoyed your live. Much appreciated. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate it. You got a cool last name too. My last name is Johnson too, if you haven't figured that out. Let's see. Musterman. The thing that makes the live feeds better, in my opinion, is when it's not like a podcast and the host is actually interacting with people watching through. Yes. So that's, again, I'm trying to find a happy medium between reading the comments like how everybody else can read. I mean, you guys can all read. I mean, most of you can. I have a hard time myself, but um, I try not to read all of them, but I also try again, to your point, Brian, I try to make sure that I'm interacting with as many people as I can. So absolutely. But it's also, it gets to a point where we get enough people and you're like, today, I think we had over 50 at one point. Once we start getting more and more and more comments in here, it'll get to a point where we're not getting a lot done as far as looking at the car or looking how to do things, because there will be so many comments, or I'll never get caught up on the comments. So um just stuff to think about, and that's kind of where the Discord comes in. It can alleviate some of that and get people help throughout the day there, because I know there's some people that work third shift, some people that work second shift. The Discord is kind of like something that would never close, right? So the people who work third shift, all those guys can talk, hang out, send pictures of what they're doing, the whole bit, and kind of all the way through. So nobody said, "Hey, jerk, don't do that," and that sounds stupid. So that makes me feel good, at least. So I appreciate that. Uh, Dennis, where are you located? I'm right. Okay, so Dennis, you're right down by St. Louis. Then obviously, we are 20 minutes. Essentially, we're about 20, 25 minutes due west of downtown Indianapolis. So we are going to be, so if you were to come up, so if you're down by St. Louis, you wouldn't come 74, you would come up, I don't know what interstate that is in this to the south, but you would come up like, no, 65, I don't think, 70 maybe, 70 I think maybe. So you would come up there. It'd be a super easy drive. I go down to Slideways all the time, and I think Slideways is about an hour from downtown St. Louis, if I'm correct, about an hour, I think. So you'd be about 3 hours from us, but we're in a little town called Liston, Lizton. Fun fact, Liston, Indiana is the only Liston in the world. So, like, I'm from Peoria, Illinois, but there's a Peoria, Arizona, and others. But Liston, there's only one of us. So will be super hard to, or super easy to find, and it'll be super easy. The track will be 1 mile off of Interstate 74. So anybody coming from Illinois or Central Illinois, it'll be super easy to get to. It's a breeze of a drive. Basically, once you get on 74, you make one more right hand turn and then you turn into the racetrack. So it'll be perfect from anywhere when you get on 74. It'll be great. Uric, my main man Uric's in here. He said Discord is a good idea. Need you to make me faster. Well, if you're dependent on me making you faster, Uric, I think we both know we got problems. And Anthony, even a few carpet guys are trying to pick up a few things. Cool. That's awesome, man. Anthony, I need to get over there and see you guys. I'd love to come and hang out and check the track out. I know I seen Dustin was over there the other day, um, with the snowstorm and everything. I should have came over that day and hung out with him and you guys, but I have every intention of getting over there, and I have absolutely every intention of getting over there and hanging out with you guys. So one last thing before I get off here, guys. I want to make sure I don't want to take up much more time than the 2 hour mark. Um, but I did pass around to a couple people to get their thoughts and opinions. There is a PDF. If you Discord, they will come. Cool. That's awesome, Izzy. But one thing that I've sent out and wanted to get some feedback from people, and we're going to be releasing soon. So be on the, and this is another, would be a great Patreon situation and Discord as well. I created a document that's a PDF document that you can take to the racetrack with you or put on an iPad or on a phone even. And it's super cool. I can actually screen share it really quick and then we'll get off of here, guys. But I thought it turned out to be actually really, really slick. Let's see. Give me just a second to pull this up. Do, 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 do. Well, if I could find it, that'd be half the battle. Oh my goodness. Give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how in the heck. I don't know why this is so incredibly difficult for me to find. Is it on your iPad? No? There it is. Oh my goodness. I don't know what in the heck took so long to find this. Here, we'll do this. Sorry, guys. I am so sorry it took so long. This is crazy how long this took. There we go. Beautiful. So now let me get back over here. Boom, boom, bang. And please. What the heck? Okay, something is going on with my software here. Falling apart. Falling apart at the 2 hour mark, everybody. Sorry. There we go. Here it is right there. And that is not what I'm trying to do. All right, it's not working, guys. I know I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know how to. I guess the only thing I can do is try to bring in the file here and show it. So incredibly frustrating. Nope, that ain't gonna work either. All right. Oh my goodness. This will work hopefully. So we got that. Okay. So now I can bring it in. Sorry, guys. So frustrating. Now, there we go. Put it in here. Boom. So hopefully everybody can see this. So Kaylee can tell me how it looks on screen, but hopefully you guys can read it if I need to zoom in or anything. But basically, I know I touched on doing my notes a little bit earlier, and this was super important to me on being able to keep track of those notes. So this is kind of something that I worked on. And I think it'd be something to be able to be significantly more detailed for everybody. So if we have this as like a PDF document that you can fill out or anything like that, it would be good. So Zach Gokin's in here. What's up, Zach? Seeing your guys' hobby shop over there at Cedar Bluff. That is awesome. So yeah, Dennis got the information. I know we talked on it a little bit, Dennis, but Dre, thanks for coming, man. Good night. Have a good one. But yeah, so tell me what you guys think about this. A little document coming from Scale Labs and stuff like that is what I want to do significantly more of. I think it's going to be a really big deal. And I think it's going to be something that will, little things like that really will help because it'll make things, especially with people new getting into the hobby, new, old, whatever. I think it'll really help keep people engaged and keep people interested into the hobby and be able to get faster and get better. So like I said, and then you can go session by session and actually track your entire day at the racetrack and be able to go about that. So I thought it was pretty cool. You know, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know what you guys think, but anyway, it kind of is what it is. So, but all right, guys, there's still almost 30 people in here. Thank you guys for everybody standing here all night. I think we got up to, like I said, 50 at one point, so that's pretty darn good for a Facebook live stream. Um, Definitely one of our better ones we've had for sure. So I appreciate you all. A lot of stuff coming from Scale Labs, a lot of new things coming, a lot of cool things coming. I will see you guys at the racetrack soon. If you haven't, go out and support your local track, and let's keep growing the hobby. The hobby's in a great spot, but I think we're just at the beginning, and we can really blow the lid off of this thing if we all work together and do it. So, Kevin, thank you guys. Josh Anders, Josh, cool. Reach out to the page and we'll work on that. We'll all work on getting it to you. Yep, absolutely, Mike. It's super useful. So I think this is gonna be something we'll throw on the Discord too. So be on the lookout, guys. Be on the lookout. If you have anything, send a message over to the Scale Labs channel. I look at it all day, every day, and I will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. So I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We shared that 150,000 number tonight, and it is all because of you guys. So I'm getting off here. Thank you guys so much, and yeah, get your local racetrack, support those guys, and we'll keep going. All right, see you guys next week, and until then, see you guys. Be on the lookout for all the cool stuff coming. Peace, guys. Thanks.